You'll be excited.
Come on, then, Anna, tell me what you're gonna tell me.
So, while I was looking for musicals, I found out that Les Miserables
Oh, Les Miserables. Is that what it's
had its
called?
premiere Les Miserables, yeah, had it everyone calls it Les Miserables.
I
It's
call
Les
it that.
Miserables. Had its premiere in 1980.
Yay! Really?
Yeah!
See, that was even better then because we can
That's
actually,
crazy though, isn't it?
yeah, when you think, especially when the movie was out, wasn't it? Not so. I mean, it was a few years ago, but when you think from
I don't wanna
1980,
the movie, I'm very upset by the movie.
did you not like the movie?
I love the movie,
Did
but
you?
what the heck was Russell Crowe doing in it?
I know. You
He
know,
can't
but then
sing.
no, but then
Sorry, Russell.
that's a bit like musicals. It's like Mamma Mia, I loved it, but come on, can he sing? No, he's James Bond. He can't sing.
No.
Pierce, Pierce,
I
Pierce,
think
Pierce.
that's, like, casting over talent, and I think that's so wrong.
But there's a
I
load of
think
people out there that
musicals
would have been non that people that wasn't amazingly famous that could have absolutely smashed that part.
yeah.
Do you know what
I
I mean?
just think, like, and I've been waiting to check something else as well, so just hang fire while I check this, because if this is one that was let me have a look. Oh, no,
What's
never
that?
mind. I was gonna say Wicked, but Wicked was
Big,
certainly
but
not
no,
80s.
what if you know if Faces had been Wicked, this whole episode would have been about that.
Well, when if we ever do a podcast that's not about 80s, we could just talk about Wicked for an
Absolutely,
hour.
absolutely, flaming lutely. So
I could
what the
talk about
what?
Wicked for weeks.
So I mean, apart from that musicals, is it? You know, I was. Well, we're not going to talk about that thrillers. But what other eight? Because I was looking, and I couldn't. Cause I know someone. There's quite a lot of 80s musicals out there, wasn't there? But I
Mm.
can't. Off the top of my head, I can't even think. I mean, there was. I know there was loads. I seen some the other day, and I was because I
I
kept
think
thinking,
Sunset Boulevard was 80s
oh,
originally.
and I
I
know
think
that.
Chess is 80s.
Yes, chess was.
Chess everybody's playing the game. That's one of my favorite songs
And
from a
that's is that I
musical.
know him so well, isn't it? From there.
And that yeah, but these shows are classic
Yeah, they are.
musicals, and Chess had a rebound, and so has Sunset Boulevard currently
Oh, have they?
with Nicole Scherzinger.
Oh, was I well, do you know, it's like I didn't realise that what was the other one? There was something else in the 80s I was gonna literally it was here, and because I've been talking, it's gone.
Is it gone now?
Yeah, it was another 80s musical that was oh god, what
I
is
keep
it
looking 'cause
called?
I had notes, but now I've not got glasses on, so I can't see them.
The what 'cause I seen it when I was looking, and I thought, "God, I didn't realise that was the 80s." But there was
Little
loads like
Shop of
yeah, that
Horrors was
yeah,
80s.
oh, we need to talk about Little Shop. I love the Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, it was early 80s, wasn't it?
Was it actually?
It was. That's why when I put it on my 80s because when I do a lot of my research here, there's some things I just think, "Oh, I wanna put that on my 80s."
Right.
But when I look at it, that's 90s or that's like 79, and I mean, sometimes I will put some that are literally I mean, I've been so tempted to put some Grease stuff on, but I thought, "No, I'm not going to," because it was 78, it's 2 years
Yeah.
before. As much as I
But, like, the thing is, who would have thought
the horrors
that a musical about a
about a
plant
plan
that eats blood and a dentist who is
off
insane
is absolute
would be
effing
so
troller. I mean,
do
he
you know
played
what,
that part
Jay?
brilliantly though, didn't he?
We have to do Little Shop something out of Little Shop. I know we've
I
already
think
done
so.
something, but we
No,
need to
I
do
think
something.
so. I think that would be absolutely brilliant. And I love when I watch that 80s. They've never remade that. I don't think that. I think to me that's one thing that couldn't be remade because it just wouldn't.
It's on Broadway now.
Always no, but you know, like as a film, you couldn't remake it
Oh,
as from the
well,
80s.
I bet they will.
I know, but then it'll all be CGI, wouldn't it? It'll all be you could.
They remake everything, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's not great. Like West Side Story actually is one of the ones that I thought they did do a good remake, but the original, which was from then as
I've
well,
got the original one. I love the original.
oh,
I do love the
so
original.
good.
Yeah,
I mean, so good. What was
you
the
get
name of the
lost
cast
in that.
again?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's like with this Little Shop of Horrors. I always remember when I first ever watched that and the fucking plant. For her as well. Her voice is so unique, isn't it?
It's so different. Like she'll go, "Finally, Steve boy."
Yes.
She just goes Yeah, it's
She
brilliant that
does, but she's got that
performance.
literally that strange voice, but that most
Yeah,
powerful voice as well.
yeah, yeah.
And I can
And it
oh,
was
and
Rick Morales, wasn't it? He played
yes,
Seymour. Steve
yes.
Martin was the dentist.
And it was the voice of the plant was just
I don't
amazing.
know the
I
voices.
can't remember what it was. I did do some research on sort of that, and I can't and
If
it
you
was
know who the voice of the plant is, put it in the comments because
yes,
I do not know
absolutely. I
who
can't
did
remember who
that.
that is, the voice of the plant, but see, that was just a classic 80s film, wasn't
Feed
it? A
me,
musical. It's the bit
feed me
it's yeah,
now.
and it's the bit where he's sitting there and he's sucking on the end of his finger. I just thought, "Oh my god,
Yeah. What do you want from me, blood? And it goes,
yes."
yeah, that is what I want from you.
But that
And
is,
the 3 girls, like, the 3 girls, like,
brilliant.
who
That
just
j
turn up
Yeah,
everywhere,
and they're
and,
just, like, in the
they're
background, aren't they? And they keep
yeah,
coming in. They are
oh,
I love that, and Steve Martin,
Skid Row is one of my favorite ensemble numbers ever.
I
Like,
love
I
that
just
song.
think it's brilliant.
That is a brilliant well, you listen to
Down
that,
on Skid
that's what
Row.
you need to do. I've not done that.
Yeah,
I
Skid
love
Row.
that. Yeah, I
I
love that.
mean,
I love
it was amazing.
it was a classic, and the thing is, I always think it's like I suppose it's like many musicals, isn't it? You can't I don't think you can never beat the original. You know what I mean?
No,
Uh, like you said, some are some are good, and like I was saying, when some of the 80s musicals that have been if people start to redo 'em, everything's the same, isn't it? Like I said before,
yeah,
the people are just different. They just bring their own stuff to it, don't they? They just bring their
yeah.
own
So there is one musical that is from the '80s that I pretty much like any musical.
is this gonna be one that you don't?
This is one that I has always been the one that I don't like. Sweeney Todd.
No, see, I don't. I have to be honest, I'm there with you. I didn't like the film as well.
No, it's just a little bit too eccentric for me, I think.
Yeah,
And I love eccentric
I
things,
do.
but I don't know what it is about that show. And listen, I'll still watch it. If someone gave me a ticket, I'd still go because it's
Yeah, I
musical
won't.
theatre. I
Yeah,
just love
yeah.
it. But it's just one that I've never got on board with.
Yeah, I
It
have to be
just
honest, that's
it's just never
I get but then
really
mine's a bit like a Vita, isn't it? And you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I just the only song I like in it is "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." I just love that song.
You see, I
I
think Evita's got some amazing
yeah,
songs.
I didn't want whether it's because it was it was like I said, no dialogue. I think that's for me, I have to have dialogue in it, and I try and 'cause what was
Yeah.
Les Mis, was that dialogue in when the film thing come out recently? No, see, I don't think I watched that.
There isn't really much dialogue
Yeah.
in Les Mis,
Yeah,
no, there
and
isn't.
I think that's probably why I didn't warm to that as well because of
I
the
love Les
but
Mis.
I should. I mean, everyone keeps saying to me, "You go and watch it. It's a great 80s. Go and watch it." And I
If
think
I was vocally I mean, I can't it's not that I can't sing, it's just I can't sing like them. I can hold a tune
yeah,
sometimes, but not if I could sing my in Les Mis, I would wanna be Eponine and sing On My Own. I just think it's one of the
I
most
love that
beautiful
song.
songs,
Yeah,
although I do think
I
it's
do like that
overdone
song,
a
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It's over.
yeah.
It goes
And
on.
a show that I auditioned for and didn't even make it past the first dance call was Cats.
Oh, see, that was it. That was the one I was gonna tell you about. That's the one when I said to you I thought of it and I couldn't remember. That was it, Cats. See, now
Love
I have to be honest with Cats. The film that came out was shocking, if you pardon the
it.
French.
Oh,
I've gotta
do you know
swear.
something?
I was
As a
waiting for
diehard
that.
Cats fan, it was nice to see it like that, but yes, it was not the best version of
No.
no.
Do you know, and which is even more disappointing because for an 80s musical being brought up now, that's some amazing stars in it, but no.
No.
No, no,
And I
no.
like I say, I say I auditioned I did audition for Cats at my stage school. They toured and they did open calls, and I didn't even get past the first 8 bars.
Oh, really?
Like, "No, thank you." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my see, that must be soul destroying. Do you know
Oh, it is. It is. It is.
when I see some of them and especially because there was some documentary about something similar to that, and that was it was I think it was like the beginning of the 80s going up and about
Mm.
people audition it was on somewhere on Netflix and they were talking about 80s stuff and about auditioning. And you know, you watch some of it because some people obviously there's some recordings out there, people with video or record. and it's
Uh-huh.
hard. It's hard. I know. I have to be honest. I don't think I mean, I'm quite a confident person, and I'm
Mm.
quite, you know what I mean. I don't get offended easily, and but I don't think that I could take somebody.
It's very, very hard, and, I was a young girl when I was
Yeah,
auditioning, and, eventually I got a job and I went away and it was, dancing in shows, but it wasn't a musical. My heart has always been in musical theater, but it was just it's something that you're so passionate about and you want your career to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
There's no other option for you, and I'd literally performed all through my childhood
God.
in every show that came to Manchester that needed children, whether it be Matilda, whether it be Joseph, whether it all the I was in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single one of them.
Good.
And then when it got to, like, being an adult, and then you go into a room with everybody else who's done the same thing that you've done, and then you're just one of,
Yeah.
hundreds of
But
people.
that's gotta be hard as a child, because as a child, when you're auditioning for them sort of musicals, I'm not saying
Mhm.
it's easy to get in, but it's not, because it's probably a little bit more easy than when you're an adult. So when you're as a child, so I mean, if I'm wrong, but, like, I'm not saying it's easy to get into them, but with just children, they'll let them come in where they can sing, or let them come in. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that and you're getting a lot of those gigs, different musicals, and then become an adult and literally you get that must be like being in the head.
That's what it is. It's absolutely horrendous, and you have to have a very thick skin for it, and the thing is, like,
And as a teenager
for
in the
every
80s,
one of yeah, for every one of you at stage school, there's one of you at stage school. When you go into an audition, there's 40 of you, like, and every single person has so you have to really, really, really stand out, and don't get me wrong, like, I did well in the audition, it just never really went
and the
where
thing
I
is,
wanted
when you
it to
think,
go.
like you said, in the 80s, you were like, in the 80s, so you're like 10 or so, 11, 12, and that's got to be, for 12-year-olds to be told, you just
Yeah.
think to
I'll
yourself,
be honest with you, Jay, when I was a kid, I rarely didn't get the job.
yeah,
It
that's
was
what I
when I
was,
became an adult.
that's what I was
When I
saying.
turned 18 and I got older and then I was, like, with the
That's what I was
grown-ups,
saying.
that's
That's
when
what,
it
you know what I mean? Growing up as a kid, it's easy to get, not to say it's easy, but you can get into them as kids. To be an adult and to be,
yeah.
oh God.
All the
Uh,
way through the '80s when I was with Ken and into the '90s, I was with him for years, and that opened a lot of doors
Yeah,
for me
yeah,
because I was already professionally working, I was part of equity and, I was at a license
yeah,
and all that, so you know, I was already I was a professional when I was a kid,
kid.
but then it all went Pete Tong from there really, but
Bless you. But the thing, it's like anything else. You've got, I think sometimes you've either got to, in the words of Elsa, let it go,
Mm,
or you've got, because if you don't, it's like everything else, and it'll just absorb you, wasn't it? It's like, what if? I mean, we all have what ifs in life, don't we? And it
yeah,
just, you know what I mean? It's like you
yeah,
said,
and, your shelf life as a performer is very
oh
short,
God, it is, yeah.
you've gotta get in there while you can, and for me, the way I did it is I went abroad and I worked in, like, hotels and things like that in the shows, and
Yeah.
I was still performing, but my dream was always to be in the West
Musical,
End,
yeah.
always to be in the West End, and that never happened. I worked
You
in the
weren't in
West
you
End
never
as
went
a
in
kid.
you never went into Emu's World, did you, Doc?
In Simone's World,
Emu's World, it was like them cheesy kids on Emu's World, can you
there's
remember that?
somebody at the
Don't.
door. There's
There's
somebody
somebody
at
at
the
the
I never did that, but I wanted
Yes,
to.
did you? Do
If
you know
someone had
what
offered me that, I'd have taken that.
when I always see Emu's World, I mean, that's a good 80s show as well, isn't it? I can always remember watching that and just thinking, "You are so," I mean, you're so overacting. I don't know what you but then kids are, when you watch things
Yeah.
now, kids do. And especially in the 80s, whatever it was, a little bit theatre, wasn't it? And Amy as well was that. And when they're in theatre, everything's emphasised, isn't it? Everything's like over the top. And
You have to play to the back of the room, it's very panto.
yes, yes,
That pantomimes for me were my favourite time of year. I did pantos with Ken every year and God, with John Inman and Roy Barraclough
yeah.
and somebody else who shall not be named. I'm so happy that you've allowed me to speak about musicals with
Oh, I love, honestly, this is why I like the one-to-ones. And I love the fact that I didn't know what was good. I probably had a little bit of inkling because I just thought she's going to talk. So I was flicking
I
through
know, because
I was
I'm
flicking
so
through the
boring.
internet. I think you've got to look at some of them 80s stuff.
I'm so boring. This is
No,
40
not at
seconds.
all.
40 seconds to
Oh,
introduce
yes.
musical.
Was,
I'm trying
yeah.
to see what she Barnum! The
That
original
was
Greatest Showman. Do you remember
I
Barnum? My
do, I've
father
heard
was
yeah,
in that, wasn't he? I
that
don't
was
know what news in the 90s, Les Misérables.
Les Mis I didn't realise it was called Les Misérables.
Yeah, well, it's French, it's about the French Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Dreamgirls was 80s.
Was it?
1981, the original
You're gonna
Dreamgirls musical.
really? I only watched that the other week.
That's mad,
I
I
don't
didn't
look
know
at you,
that.
Em, when I said that. I've only ever watched that the other week.
Did you realise? What, with the Beyonce film?
Yeah. But I've
Yeah,
never but I have to be honest, I've been told I've seen the original, but I probably can't remember it because my mum used to she wasn't obsessed with it, but she'd seen it and she remembers the original.
yeah. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
It's the 80s.
Yeah,
No, I love
yeah. That's something I haven't watched in a really long time.
Seven Brides for
I think
Seven
Oklahoma
Brothers.
might be as well,
South
even earlier.
I think South Pacific's not, is it? I'm gonna
Oh,
watch
I'm
that
gonna
man
watch
right
that
out about
man.
here. I think that's a bit older, that is, but
I think so too. I
Seven
think so
Brides
too.
for Seven Brothers, absolutely brilliant. That was an old that
Brilliant, isn't
because
it?
I think that came out I think the film came out before that, didn't it? And then they
Yeah,
did the musical. So I remember watching the oh god, the film's from the quite an older film, isn't it? But I didn't realise that was the 80s. That's brilliant.
yeah.
Seven
We're
Brides.
so old, do you know that?
I know. The thing is though, I'm literally 6 years older than you, so I'm even older. You've not even hit
You know,
50
it's
yet.
no, I'm definitely not, but no, I'm definitely not, but I've recently started to feel like I'm at that age where I could quite easily say, "In my day."
You know what we were talking about the other day? 'Cause we were talking about music, or we were talking about some of the games that we used to have in the 80s. And can you
Right.
remember a game called Perfection? Oh my god.
No.
I was talking about this, I've got a podcast with my friends coming up soon, and we were talking about these people that I've known these girls I've known for a long, long time. And and it basically was like a game. It was a bit like you used to have a touch, so you push it down, and you have these different
Yeah.
shapes that you had to put in it. The timer was ticking. It used to make I mean, I don't suffer with it. It used to give me anxiety because as it was
Sure.
ticking, you'd be pulling them, and you knew if you didn't get it on, it should shoot the whole lot up in the air. But I used to
Those
get
kind of
excited.
games freak me out, like that
Yeah,
snake one you were talking about the other day. I those things that make those hungry hippos used to freak me
yeah.
out.
But you remember that? Oh god, in the 80s, I used to have one called
Yeah, this hungry hippo,
yeah.
bang, 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 bang.
That's a bit like I used to have one called remember the Jaws? It's a bit like it used to be like when Jaws it used to be Jaws, a shark, and its mouth were open. It used to have all this stuff that you would find in the bottom of the sea in its mouth. You had to hook them out, and then it'd snap at you if you like.
Yes, I do, and then it'd snap on
Do
you.
you know what
Yeah.
I was saying to her, you know, what used to give me stress me out a lot as a kid was remember Operation?
Oh my god, I was just about to say the same thing, Operation, and I still can't play that. My son has it now, and I still can't play it.
I used to you know, the concentration was
Oh, no.
and it's when it used to buzz, it used to scare.
It's actually a horrible game, that.
And Buckaroo.
Kerplunk. Kerplunk
Yeah,
used to freak me out. In fact, the '80s were
all the
a
games.
terrible time for games. No
Buckaroo as
wonder
well.
we're all stressed out as adults.
I would just say, I can remember playing Buckaroo and you used to put it down, you used to flick everything off, and they
Yeah.
used to but yeah, oh god, I used to love some of the 80s toys. I was looking I've spoken about it before when I always wanted the Mr. Frosty and never got that. Just let that go, Joe.
I mean, I did have a Mr. Frosty. I
Did
did get Ollie one for Christmas as well, and
always
he
one.
gobbled it as if to say, "What's that?" But,
That's
no,
great. I got one as
I
an adult,
love
it was great for vodka ices.
oh,
Was
what, as a kid? In the
no,
'80s?
no.
I was still
I
a baby in the '80s though, at the beginning.
yeah, you
Well,
were
I was
because you was quite
13 by
yeah,
the end of it, but
yeah. So that's a bit like me, wasn't it? I mean, I was when the 80s started, I was 10. So I was like still young. I was like, we talk about this. And I was just saying to someone we're going about their birthday at work, and I think, oh, God, I left school then when you
I
were
know,
born.
I know.
And
I
it's really
listen
bizarre talking to some of the young ones. The younger ones nowadays is really bizarre because they can't never remember phone boxes. Do you know the one that used to be in the street
yeah,
and you used to
of
have to put
course.
you have to. But then when you talk to 22-year-olds, they've only ever known mobile phones.
I remember me and my friend in the '80s having boyfriends, or, what we thought were boyfriends at the time, and then telling them in school, "Ring the phone box at,
Yes.
like, 6:30," and we had to run to the phone box
And
just to
you'd be
get
ever
the
so mad
card.
if someone was already on it.
Yeah, yeah. we used to just, like, ring people from the phone box as
Oh
well.
god. Do you know what it was for me? That it stopped eventually. Do you know, like, when you used to ring someone and then you wait for them to answer, you have to put the 10 pence in, and then you'd
Yeah,
hear beep, 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 beep before they picked it up. And just as it was ready to run out, you'd hear the beep thing. You were trying to
yeah.
push the
Like,
money
I
back in.
I so, at the moment, I think I've told you this, my son is just started high school, and I have this app called Life 360 that I can see where he is at all times, when he's getting
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
bus, when he's getting off the bus, how fast he's walking, when he
yeah.
stops, all that.
Gosh,
And my dad said to me the other day, he was looking at it and he was like, "Do you know, I just had to hope
that you come
that you just
back.
made it home alive every day." I just had to hope. I had no
We did.
idea where you were.
I can almost remember, Anna, going out at, like, the week 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock, going having breakfast, going out, and you didn't come home till the lights come on, and you knew that was time to come
No,
out. And now
no.
I always think, was that crap parenting by my parents, or
I don't think it was like
was it the day and age that we lived in?
we know a lot more now though,
Yeah,
Jay.
yeah,
Through social media and through we didn't know people were as evil as they were
yeah,
back in the day because we didn't hear about it as much.
yeah,
So yeah, so
absolutely.
I mean, they all have these Oculuses and these, like, VR kits and everything. They all play on that
Yeah, yeah,
outside on these games, but in the houses. And I'm like, "Get out and go and play
yeah.
with your friends. Get on your bike and go." I don't want
Go down the canal like we used to.
to. I don't know about the canal. Oh
Oh,
god, anxiety.
hone do you know what? We honestly, we
I don't know
look,
how I survived the
no, I
80s, to be
don't.
honest.
I always think we used to literally go down to the local canal and swim in that water. That when you think back now, I'm surprised I've not got 10 feet and 10
I
toes.
know.
And it
Webbed
was
feet and,
yeah,
like, guilt.
and it was
Yeah.
and you know, you used to go I mean, you went in with your shoes on, but it was just filthy, and it was and you go under the water, you go with all the and I just think how it but it just goes to show, doesn't it, our immune system, because we were so always out, it was
Yeah.
never namby-pamby, and I just think I was never ill. You know what I mean? When you
I mean, because of my dancing and the training I was doing, I wasn't as out as much as the other kids because I had
yeah, because yeah,
to do all this, but when I was out
all the time I do. I
and
can
in yourself in really dodgy, scary
yeah,
situations as well.
I
And
can
I
al
think that's why now I'm so worried because I know what I did when I was back
and it is true, isn't it? Because it's like, we used to go down to, like, oh god, I don't know, the local park, and you just think,
huh,
could nowadays, you know, what I mean, when we growing up in the 80s, we used to go out, we used to go in the park, we used to go,
yeah.
like I said, to the cow, we used to go scrumping. I used to love scrumping. I was mess
Like
when it
getting out.
was yeah, off the trees and
Is that why
plums,
it's called Scrumpy Jack?
yes, and we used to go, oh god, honestly, I can always remember this girl that I used to be friends with, and she was like, she used to be called, she was what they used to call a tomboy at the time, and she used to hang up. I've never known anyone shimmy up a tree that quick, like, but the bloke come out with, I can remember the bloke come out 'cause he got loads of plum trees, and he was effing and jeffing, he got these sticks, and there she was hanging from this tree. Didn't I mean, we didn't even care. I was hiding around this stump of the other tree,
Yeah.
and she did not, and she just dropped down the tree in front of him, and he did try and chase her, and she just wasn't, but yeah, we used to go and do, you can't do that anymore. Well, they don't have
No, I mean,
trees now, do they?
the
Like they
thing the
used to.
things we used to do,
Yeah,
like,
you're right, and I always, how will we survive? I always think,
I don't
how
know.
are we alive? You
I
know, if
was
I
like, I don't think I was drinking so much in the '80s, but when I was a bit older, I was. But, like, I would take my parents never drank, so I couldn't steal drink from my
no,
parents because they weren't drinkers, but
no, mine
my
weren't.
friend my friend's parents did, and we used to take the drink and then top it up with water, and I actually spoke to her dad recently at a wedding or something we were at, and he said, "I always thought it was a mum drinking and then filling it up, right, and it was us stealing the vodka and then filling it." I would know if Ollie
Yeah.
watered my
But you
drinks down.
but you know what, I know when I was this is, I'm not advertising this to anybody, smoking,
No.
but when I used to as a kid, I think I tried it when I was 10, 11, because everyone was, until my mum made me eat 2 of them in front of her. Just, and it stopped me till I was
Yeah,
about 15, 14, 15. But
yeah.
I always remember, and then I, like, 13, 14, 15, and I used to, like, my mum used to have, like, these 10 number 10. I mean, they were like that. They were like tab ends. They're the tiniest thing. I mean, 2 sucks on them, they were gone. But
Yeah.
I used to and I always think I don't know why is a at that age thinking that she's never gonna know you've took one out of the pack. But she never said anything, so I always assumed that she either
Yeah,
thought she'd over smoked them, and we used
yeah.
to sit there and with friends and you'd smoke it right down all we used to go and do
Oh, we used to stay half on.
yeah,
Half on, yeah,
yeah.
and then Embassy Number 1 was out of what we all used to
Oh,
get.
was it?
10
Oh,
Embassy Number 1, but
yeah.
yeah, no.
I
Don't
mean,
smoke, kids.
yeah, don't smoke. No one smoke. It's bad for you.
No, bad for
But
you.
I used to oh god, I used to yeah. And we used to go to the local when we was at school, we used to go to the local shop at the top and they used to sell you a cigarette for 10 pence.
Yeah,
Like a
and do you know
fortune they did.
apparently where I was getting served a drink when I was very young
Yeah.
is scary.
But when you think about it though now, I know,
You
it's
must have
like when
known I
my
wasn't.
yeah, my mum used to send me down the shop for cigarettes. I mean, you can't send kids for cigarettes nowadays.
No?
And
Oh
do you know,
gosh.
she said, "I'll give you 10 pence." I mean, you'd fly down there, 10 pence. You wouldn't I wouldn't even open my
Right,
eyes for 10 pence.
you get a 10p mix with no bubblies, I wasn't allowed bubbly.
Oh, no, I used to get the K-line, well, K-line, is it called? Like, we called it K-line. You know, the different coloured sherbet stuff?
Oh, like Lico, was it like
Yeah,
Lico? Yeah.
I think we used to call it K-line. Oh my there was a lot of E numbers in
Pure
that.
sugar.
Yeah. I used to get that, start eating that as I'm walking up, got off work, and I was spinning by the time I got home because there were that many E numbers.
Heroin for kids,
Sherbet, oh my god.
you know?
But you know what I mean? You just wouldn't be able to, like you said, kids nowadays, you would just send your child down to the shops
No.
oh god, and
You'd be surprised though, you'd be surprised because you know now that it's wrong to do that, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who,
would do it, yeah.
Lord knows what goes on, but yeah, I mean,
But at least
I
we're
was
alive. That's all I
I
keep
mean,
saying.
how though?
I think it's a mixture of luck.
Well, it's definitely
A
luck.
lot's a mixture of luck and the fact that we we were just all I think it was hard, and I think in them days, I think we was just I can always remember going out to we used to go down like these where I mean, they're old garages. They were like where the Derek's, what are they called, vacants used to go, and we used to and they were there when we was kids hanging blessed and I can remember falling over and smashing my mouth, and I must have bit my tongue. And I can always remember, you just wipe it away because you did it together and think, but then it got to the point that I did look like I was an extra from Cara because it just, and I can remember going. That's the first time my mum, because I remember going home, and I kept trying, try and swallow it, but it was literally coming out all over my. My mum thought, oh, I think she thought someone had tried to kill me,
My God.
and I'd have stitches. Basically, what I'd done, I thought it was my tongue, but I'd not. I'd literally bit the inside of my cheek that hard yeah,
Oh.
I'd have 2 stitches in there, and it was really bizarre because 'cause you're going back a long time ago, and they were like metal things, and all I remember is feeling them in my cheek.
Like
They
staples.
yeah, that's what they're like, but then even when
Oh,
they did that, going to the hospital, getting that, and then the next day I was still down there. It's like, you know what I mean? You
madness. I
just
tell you
think,
what, kids don't know the bond. The 80's were a good time. They were good fun.
do you know what? And that's what we're saying, wasn't it? Because about like, I love doing my 80s stuff, and, like, your musical and dream, please go follow Musicals and Dreams on
Thank
TikTok
you.
because she is amazing. If you love musicals, go and follow her 'cause it's absolutely brilliant. But, like, with the musical stuff and, like, with the 80s stuff, they are I mean, I think Musicals and Dreams are probably a bit more unique, a bit more
Yeah,
niche
niche,
in, like
niche,
'cause the
yeah.
thing is with the 80s, I'm quite lucky with it when I do my 80s stuff, I can actually do it. I think I'm gonna do a podcast next week actually on my own.
Yeah.
Just me talking about
Yeah,
some
that'd
of
be
the stuff
so good.
yeah, some of the stuff that I like, when I was obsessed with East End. It's not right when I was old. Do you know I used to really like in East remember I used to play Pete Beale from EastEnders in the '80s. He was Ian and Kathy's husband,
Oh
Pete Beale
God, that's going back.
in
I
the
don't really watch
I
programs.
don't no,
My boyfriend, he loves
I
them,
don't
but
watch them. I don't watch them as much, but EastEnders is the only one that I've watched when it first started, and even then, I just think you like boys because I used to find when you see him now, I just think, yeah. But yeah, but
when did you
that's
come out? Did you come out in the 80's then?
no, oh God, no, I was 24 because
Okay.
yeah, because I think because I've got I mean, obviously I've got 2 kids, so I I've got and I did a lot of sleeping before. I think a lot of
We
that was
know, we
I
know.
think a lot of that was just it's like you said, it's like some people and this is what I was saying about now, it's like, at least now you can come out a lot younger, can't you? It's a lot more
Yeah,
acceptable. And yet, all I remember in the 80s watching the horrible AIDS adverts and watching all the because we were talking about this on an episode with Karen because she was about, like, things that you can't do. And I always
mm.
remember the only people that I had, that was my people to look up to was people like Larry Grayson and John Inman.
The
And for
overcome,
yeah,
yeah.
and for me, I didn't feel that that was me,
That
whereas now
wasn't that didn't
yeah.
represent
So
anything to
yeah,
me, that wasn't who you were.
so I used to think I can't be gay because that's not how I act. And I think as well, they used to I think with the gay no, the gay in the 80s, as much as I love the 80s, they used to gay people were something to mock. That's what I felt like. It was like it was always a comic it was always a comedy thing,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I hear
It was
you.
you know what I mean? It wasn't like a serious thing. It was always very comedy. It was like
The
you had
hit
Larry
who misses the camp
yes.
sort of, yeah,
And
and I love camp, you
yeah,
know, but
and I love all that, but you know, watching that and
yeah,
thinking and do you know when I was and I've spoke about this, but I just think and when I watched that and I obviously George Michael was my icon, I always think that's why he never came out in the Times because
yeah,
he
of
knew.
course.
And I talked to one about Karen. I mean, that one will go out before this, but I did one. I always remember growing up as a kid with, but I love Boy George, and I always remember the way he was treated. And do you know what I found?
Yeah,
What used to really frustrate me with that
mm.
was when Boy George, because of all the makeup he used to wear, and I think it was nothing to do with the makeup because Adam Ant wore the makeup, and so did Duran Duran. But because they were straight, it was acceptable. For me, it was the fact that Boy George was himself. He wore the
Oh,
dreadlocks. He
yeah,
wore
and I
the
have to
gay,
say
the what they call girl clothes. And
I
you know,
have to say as well, it's such a shame for that because,
yeah, yeah,
you know, now I think this is why I always say, like, I think representation is so important,
absolutely.
right? And it's not not everybody is gon you're not gonna watch something and be like, "Oh, that's me," or "That's me," or "That's me,"
No,
but
no,
representation every walk of life, it's so important for young boys and young girls to see themselves in adults, in
absolutely,
TV shows, in musicals, in you know, whatever it may
absolutely,
be, because otherwise they're growing up feeling like they can't be who they are because they're so different to everyone else and it's not normal and this, that, and the other.
completely.
Oh my God, it's completely not. Everybody, whoever they are, whatever they do, however you identify, you are normal and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are, I
You,
mean,
you
loved
know,
and
so
cared
that's what
about because you're you, and that's the most important thing.
absolutely.
I think we're going in the right direction,
Uh,
Jay. I still
yeah.
think there's a lot of work to do.
Oh god, yeah. I could because I was saying about that Boy George thing in the 80s. I always remember going on about he was actually on the front of well, the Sun. The only thing that was ever real in the Sun was the date, but even that you had to like worry about. I'll do it quickly. All I remember that was he was on the front of the cover saying out, and this woman called Mary Whitehouse is going on about he's going to
Oh yeah.
corrupt all the children. They're all going to be scarred. Blah blah. And then you turn over onto page 3, and there's Samantha Fox with a tip.
You know what I mean? Like, why
Really?
is that okay?
And for me, it was the fact he was gay. It's nothing to do with the makeup because all the
No.
others wore made. And I do think, thank God we've came along from that. I know there's still like I say, loads to
Yeah, I
go.
mean, I do think we've come a long way, and, you know, I do think our children now don't see
Absolutely.
massive
No,
differences. I
no.
mean, they do still use words to
Kids are amazing though, aren't they? Because kids are so much more acceptable.
so
And
I'm
when
gonna
you
my mum, bless her, she's 90 years old, always said to me, and I'll stick by this, and I've given it to my son, is like, "You're not born to hate, you're taught to hate."
uh, well, that's nearly
Jay,
gone
it's been
now.
a
We've done it.
pleasure.
Has been an absolute pleasure. And thanks ever so much for that, Anna. And I
Thank
will
you
speak
for
to, I
having
mean, we've
me.
got remember Halloween one soon.
Oh, what,
We're
say?
gonna do the Halloween special.
Oh, yes, we
All
are.
of us
But
Halloween,
if I
dressed up
get
in our
there,
Halloween stuff. So it's on the 9th. So yeah. But thanks ever so much for coming on, Anna. And I'll speak to you soon. You
thank you
take
for
care.
having me.
Bye bye.
Yes,
Take care,
bye.
love.